Hello friends and family from around the world, this is Mike with Daily Events Worldwide, and we are on February 12th, 2022. Welcome to another surviving day on the planet, and welcome to the Daily Do, having a look at space weather, world weather, and as well earthquakes, volcanoes. Starting out here, looking at the last 48 hours on our sun, we had a couple sizable flares, an M-class and as well a C-class just recently, watching the fiery regions, and as well a CME. You can see the plasma filament taking off from the southwest region there. Quick flash here in the last 48 hours incoming. Keeping an eye on this region, and as well a couple fiery sunspots. Looking at outgoing images here, this is where we had the M-class and as well the C-class flare just recently. Watching the last few images, most latest flare on the sun. Quick look here at incoming regions. This is just behind the coronal hole that was Earth-facing. We're already seeing an uptick in our solar winds and as well plasma density. Large CME was on its way as well. So space weather is in effect. Looking at multi-spectrum here. The last 48 hours of events on our amazing sun. Wicked little look there at the coronal hole, and as well that last solar flare. Looking at 171 angstroms, there is the coronal hole, small diminished coronal hole in the northern region as well. And it looks like we may have another one developing, incoming, cresting on the sun. Looking at ISWA Space Prediction Spiral, still showing the CME event heading into us 12th into the 13th. So that is tonight and into tomorrow. Solar X-ray flux back into B range after shooting a C-class and as well an M-class solar flare. Looking at the solar flux absorption here. Right over the quiet zone, South America, as I'll be noting in the earthquakes. Looking at a real-time solar wind up over 550 kilometers per second. Highest reading today was about 589 kilometers per second. So that is the coronal hole wind stream as well, the CME that we've been posting the last little bit. Looking at our magnetosphere for pressure. Definitely under a lot of pressure right now, waiting for that to release. We'll see an uptick in seismicity. Looking at our Schumann resonance for today, a power of 10. Still a nice, healthy resonance across the planet. I just wish that we could all get onto the same healthy resonance and get along and end everything, the madness. Power of 10, let's go. Around the world, we're looking at earthquakes. Most recently here, a 5.5. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge, and as well a 5.0 was also reported there today, both at a 10-kilometer depth. Ascension Islands region. As I said, South America, eerily quiet. San Antonio, Puerto Rico, largest in the region, seeing a 3.8. Across the U.S., no major earthquakes to report. 2.5 there, Hope, Kansas, as well as a small one in Maine, not reported here. White City, New Mexico, 3.2, and up into Petrolia, 3.9, the largest across North American soil, and down into San Leonardo, California. So minor activity still continues around the San Francisco Bay Area. Stay aware and prepared. Looking at Hawaii, through the region, saw a 2.8 and a 2.7 as well. We also saw an overflow here of lava coming out of Kilauea today, shooting up through the softest part of the caldera, overlooking Alaska. Minor activity in Toyonok, Alaska, and Tudlik. 4.0 there in Nikolskoye, 42-kilometer depth. And as well, watching through the Rat Islands, as there are quite a few volcanoes along that range that are puffing away Aleutian Islands. Quiet over Kamchatka, Russia, Northern Asia. Hualien City yesterday reporting a 5.5, followed by a 5.2 today in the Philippines. 4.9 here in Sarapathar, India. And as well, Afghanistan seeing a 4.0, 121 kilometer depth. As well, Kush, Afghanistan. Activity straight across Papua New Guinea and down into New Caledonia. The 4.9 after some pretty deep earthquakes in the Fiji region. Looking here, 4.9 New Zealand, as well as 4.4 here, 531 kilometer depth, 558 kilometer depth, and 485, 219 there. So a lot of deep activity here through Fiji and down into Kermadec, expecting a larger and shallower earthquake to follow after these events across the planet right now. Analyzing this, just heads up, that's all this is. No fear here. Having a look at the last 7 days across the world, way too quiet North America and Central America, even South America. So Nazca Plate into Pacific, way too quiet. All around the rest of the world, we're seeing minor activity. And of course, some very deep and numerous earthquakes in Fiji as of late. We haven't had a sizable earthquake here for a few days. Having a look here at the Pacific Disaster Center, showing the most recent volcanoes getting updated, and as well the most recent satellite imagery, looking at Yasur in Vanuatu, Fuego, Guatemala, Sabancaya, Peru, Nevadas de Chile, Colombia, Sangay in Ecuador, Nevadas de Ruiz, Colombia, Luatolo, Indonesia, Aoba, Vanuatu is another newly awakened, Swiss Najima, Japan, Semeru, Indonesia. Etna in Italy, quite an eruption, beautiful eruption happening a couple nights ago, carried on for about 24, 36 hours. As well, Reventador in Ecuador. So that's about 13 volcanoes getting updated today, and we still have an active and erupting 50 volcanoes across the planet. Stay tuned for the volcanic activity report. We'll be giving you a full update on where all of the volcanoes are erupting across the planet. Looking at satellite imagery here, some peculiar large lows developing across the world, one in the southern hemisphere, one in the northern, and it's interesting that now the weather app I was using, the 5-day forecast, has been discontinued. So they're not going to show us what's happening 5 days from now anymore. At least not with their weather models. We'll have to see if we can get our own developers and maybe create our own weather app. Looking around the world, satellite imagery, looking at some pretty intense weather heading across north of South America. So watch for intense and torrential downpours all across Peru into Brazil and Colombia. Some very active storms, as there is a large low sitting over northern parts of South America right now, and it is huge and it's not going anywhere. So for the next couple days, watch for wildfires to spark up, and as well mudslides, landslides, flood alerts, torrential downpours. South America on alert. Looking at the last forecast here coming from Meteor-Earth, and they're only giving us 24 hours, and you see the size of that low in the Pacific Ocean. There's lots of strange events happening across our planet. Jet streams are changing, trade winds shifting. We've got warm air heading into Alberta and BC this week. But watch for a very nasty cold front to be heading in behind this. But it could be the last one until next winter. We are quickly shifting already about 4 weeks, 5 weeks away from spring. Looking around the world here, this is the next 24 hours. Blizzard-like conditions heading into northern parts of Europe and Russia. Strong high-pressure ridge all across Russia right now. Daily evaporation rains continuing across Indonesia, Malaysia. Big system coming out of China. And watch for the same thing to happen with the lows coming out of China and Japan right now. Very intense systems heading through the Pacific over the next 14 days. As well, watching a couple lows here, possibly developing into cyclone for the long range. Africa, daily evaporation rains south and very dry north. Grinding low heading over the United Kingdom. And then, as I was saying earlier, a big low pressure system over parts of South America right now. Tropical cyclone Dovey heading across Auckland, New Zealand. And a line of moisture here drawing from the equator down into Antarctica. As I said, enjoy these weather maps. This is the last time we will ever see a Meteor Earth weather app. And I want to give thanks to all of the creators. Appreciated it while it was here. Thanks for watching today. This has been Mike with Daily Events Worldwide, keeping humanity aware and prepared. Stay aware and prepared. Stay young and have fun. And get your daily due. Bye-bye now. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends and family from across the world.